Thank you so much on behalf of Brockton Community Access for allowing us to display beautiful art in our art gallery. And firstly, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our viewers and describe your style of art.
Well, thank you, Maya, for inviting me. I was very flattered and honored. And I'm happy to be in Brockton and provide certain facilities to the artist. And I am originally born in Haiti, and I've been doing that for 50 years and plus, playing with art, drawing, being silly with my dresses, and doing therapy with people, playing certain games. I use an impressionist style, and mostly recently I use a kind of almost carving, not really carving, it's just sculpting the paint on the canvas, and that's very pleasing to my mind. And via the collaboration of the Asian Artists Assembly of Massachusetts, I've been somehow influenced, not only by the style, but by the subject, because we are playing the game about culture. We are doing like Black History Month. So suddenly I find myself getting interested in very different subjects, even though I still use my impressionist style, and I love to use my imagination.
Yeah.
It's very joyful and healing to my mind.
So you told me that you started art at a very young age when you were in Haiti. So I'm curious to know how, over the years, your art style and maybe the way you think about art has evolved.
I remember being 5 years old, and like at the time, Haiti was very tragic. And I was not at my parents' place. Her name was for me and still Mommy. I liked her because she was a little big, and I liked to go sit down on her. And that day she was crying. And there was that kerosene lamp like that, because at the time there was a curfew, no electricity at night. We were not allowed to. And as I sat down with her on her, and she had those watercolor and those cards that she used to do with the watercolor, because her husband was in jail and she was not allowed to work. So somehow those little cards were there for Mommy and us who was at the place was an extra income for her to survive. But that night, whatever I felt, it was so deep. From the age of 5 to the moment I'm talking to you, Amaya, it's just a few seconds. So that stayed with me. And as I grew older I think for a few years, even though I kept at it, I get a bunch of little books or Howard from the school. But around the teenage year, I forgot about it. I was so busy. But as I came in the United States, I remember I thought about it. I had to choose because it was consuming my mind, but also I had to make a living. I had to learn how to do for myself. So I went to study accounting. But while studying accounting, I took art seriously. Whenever I could not sleep, I just take an accounting book.
Wow.
But when I needed to stay awake, I did art. So my mind was telling me, what is giving you the energy, that's what you have to take. And I needed to make a living. I needed to be busy. I needed to know that my life was worth it. And without any plan whatsoever, every morning, every day, I painted.
Yeah.
And I realized that was my best medicine. And that's when one day Arnie Danielson called me and said, "Would you like to play?" why not?
Yeah.
And I played. So no, for me, that's what I was born to do.
You did kind of already touch on this a little bit, but you would say that art can help you in other aspects of your life. How does art touch you in other aspects of your life?
Let's say like education. We all went to school and we all learned to write. But learning to paint or draw has a very different aspect. It touches a very different aspect of our mind. It makes us know that what we are seeing, it's not really what it is. But that's making you trip like that in your mind. You're asking yourself questions. You're seeing things in a different perspective. Let's say you would do a flower, and you would say that, what if I'm a bee, and I'm looking at the flower, and you're going into
perspective.
It's a very different perspective, and to know that we are all limited and perfect, but it's beautiful no matter what. For example, that little lady with the basket. I have a strange story about that lady in my head, if I may continue to.
Yes, please.
I remember being a little girl and I see those ladies in my homeland. They were beautiful, they were strong. And me, I'm trying to put those little, no, it did not work out. What's interesting to my memory, yes, many of them, they don't know how to read and write, but many of them, they are mothers of presidents, of ministers. Because from that basket, from what I understand, they can have 10 children for a man. That man doesn't provide anything. She's going to feed everybody in that basket. It's true, not all of them has money. So what are you going to do? You know, you're going to sit and wait? No. They get up, okay, there is no job, and that's the job. And to me, it's very valuable because the mind was able to see it, and that's how they put the basket in their head. That's my story about it. And that's why I respect them to a level that no one can imagine. Yes.
No, you were saying that for a lot of your artwork, you have a story behind them. So I'm curious to know, where does this imagery come from? Does it come from memory or dreams, or do you just make it up as you go?
No, it's spontaneous. Let's say for the Mimi flowers, the pink one. I remember when I studied here in Massachusetts to be an artist, there is a friend, Charles Lucien, who is the leader of the Asian Artists Massachusetts. He sent me a flower of the Mimi flower. And suddenly I remember in my homeland we had that flower and they call it Mimi. And guess what? I did a Mimi flower. Now it's my own. So, but I remember I did them often, and then I let it go, and I'm back at it again because it's not it's a big tree. It doesn't have that many leaves, but you would see a few flowers standing mighty. And of course, I do have a couple of them, you know, I took them from pictures, but they came out like, let's say, the little boy. It's my first child when he was about 5 years old. For 25 years, I dreamed about doing that painting, and it took me about 6 years. And all of them is just like those moments in time. Spontaneously, I would think about hope.
And then finally, my last question, Mimi, is what advice would you give to any aspiring artists that maybe want to take their craft more seriously but don't necessarily have the confidence to yet?
Get involved with a group of artists. because we are afraid of what people think of us, of our look, or we do in life, where we live, what we drive, whatever it is. We feel a lot of things, and so is art. And some of us cannot believe we can do that.
Yeah.
And me, I said, if you are seeing you doing it, believe it. For you to be an artist, you have to be committed.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's a strange baby, that can grow if you give it attention, if you give it the value. And sometime in the years where we have to make due for our finances, we might put it on the side, but we don't forget about it.
Yeah.
But the day comes, and there is a time for it, the creativity in our life. No, I was happy to have given so many years to take care of my children. Because that's part of art also, giving of myself and not expecting anything in return. This is not something easy to do.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Again, Mimi, I just want to thank you for being here. Thank you for talking to me, and thank you for letting us admire your art at Brockton Community
And
Access.
thank you for the invitation.
Yay.
Oh my God.